up? What's poppin'? This is Discourse, where we're going to talk about non-monogamy and relationships. I would like to start off by saying all men are trash. I just want to start that, right off the top. I like to talk about this. Since the last 5 years, I've talked about this because the industry that I'm in is porn. So the first thing that I noticed was the private messages was all about men that were in relationships for like 10 to 15 years and they loved anal and their wife didn't know they liked anal. So you lying, first off. And you're paying to lie. You're paying me to lie to your wife. So I think that starts with lying, kind of trying to keep your relationship together. Mostly because you don't really like it. It's mostly for the kids or mostly for the bills. To the point where Atlanta women are starting to fly niggas in from other places because it's stupid. So for my relationship and my line of work and porn, monogamy don't really work. Mostly because we dealing with other people every day. And that leads into having great relationships with people that you're actually dealing with. So, mostly jealousy, right? You create memories with other people, and that's mostly what people get jealous about because you did something fun, you was laughing, it's like, where the fuck was I at? So, that's always been a problem in all my relationships, and I have a higher sex drive than most of the people that I was in a relationship. So, I think sex is like the number one thing, and then the second is responsibilities, and then financial responsibilities. So I would like to see what y'all think of that.
So let's unpack. So first, just to, I guess, clarify your point, because if we don't clarify, then nobody's going to want to listen past the fact that we said men are trash. It's a statement made because that's how men are conditioned. Like, men are conditioned to be terrible people based off of, like you said, patriarchy and other principles of how we're supposed to treat people or how we're supposed to feel superior to people. So it's like when we say men are trash, it's like the conditioning of how men are reared to grow up is trash, right? It's like we teach girls baby dolls and how to cook, but like, do men not need to know how to cook for themselves or how to raise their own child if they have to raise their own child, right? So it's like one of those crazy things of how we condition young boys to move through the world, and then it kind of makes them trash. I just want to bring that point up first before, because I just know how social media works. And it's like, here we go, they got to bash us. Before we get to bashing, it's like, let's clarify that we have all been, at least, I can speak for myself, like I was conditioned in some ways, not necessarily by my family, but by society, to act and move in a way because I presented as a male. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that into the space. And now y'all can
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I think of, I forget who said it, but they said like men are trash as a politic. So it's not like you're not being bashed, like it's kind of like anti-patriarchal, it's kind of pro-woman to talk about how men are trash. And like all men are trash is very important because people don't realize the impact they have when even they try to talk about like cis men, and like it's a weird thing because then they like, trans men are trash too, you know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate you bringing that into the space because we definitely need to distinguish that and make that clear for the people. Now going into non-monogamy, I'm non-monogamous. Now I don't practice non-monogamy currently, and I don't know when I'll practice it again, and I guess that's kind of like even weird to say because like I just know I'm non-monogamous, just period, and I think it was an important thing, like just as important coming out as trans was, it was important for me to come out as non-monogamous, to let my partners know that, hey, I don't know what you're expecting from this, but this ain't gonna be quite what you think because we can practice monogamy. Like right now, my girl, hopefully she's gonna be my future wife, like, that's where I wanna be, that's where I'm at. Non-monogamy, just to give a little insight, and if I'm wrong, y'all correct me. Non-monogamy is when sex is happening outside of your relationship with your partner. So I don't even think we were filming yet, and Valencia said like non-monogamy comes in various forms, right? So like sex outside of your relationship, your partner could be into sex as a business. You know what I'm saying? That's still a non-monogamous relationship. So when I think about like non-monogamy and like, I'm a non-monogamous person who knows how to practice monogamy, which is a major taboo thing because people are like, oh, you just want to go and fuck everybody. And I also had to learn that just because I'm a masculine person that's non-monogamous, I don't have to stick my little plastic penis in everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to learn that it's like a thing, like, you know, it's cool, yeah, wow, ethically I can date more than one person, but like, do I have the capacity to do that right now? Like, it's about
brain power to do that? Like,
because it's not just about fucking everybody. Like, it goes into talking about casual sex and what people think casual sex is. And for me, like, I'm not interested in fucking cis men no more. However, when I do think about fucking cis men on a casual level, I always think about, like, for me, it was always a dude. We play video games, we chill, we vibe. And then if it goes there, it was like, and for me, that's how casual sex is. And being an AFAB person or whatever, like, and I identify myself as that. And like being with other women, and like other AFAB people, casual sex.
What is that?
AFAB, assigned female, actually assigned fabulous at birth. But if you want to use their little terms, assigned female at birth. So being a trans person, I try not to use like transmasculine or whatever, but being like a trans person who was assigned fabulous at birth, and then like dating people who also were assigned fabulous at birth, and being in like, I don't know, these partnerships where, I don't know, it's just like so dope. I want it, like, non-monogamy for me started before I came out as trans because it was like so dope that like, oh wow, I want to be with more of you. Y'all are so dope to be with. So I don't know how y'all got introduced to non-monogamy or like what it was for y'all, but for me it was like how dope it was to be with.
So,
I think
sorry, I want more people to go before I talk, but I just want to add that to be non-monogamous isn't just like who you have sex with. It's also about relationships. Because when you're talking about people who are polyamorous or into like a relationship anarchy, which is me, FYI. Those two is more about the relationships you have with people, and it's not about who you are having sex with. Some other types of non-monogamy, like open relationships and swinging and stuff, is about sex.
Right.
But like, I do want to say that sex and or relationships, because like asexual people can be non-monogamous as well. So, bam.
No, thank you for that, because it also got me thinking about like non-monogamy, polyamory, and how for me, I appreciate that because I say I'm non-monogamous when it comes to my barbers. Like, you know how like, think about it, niggas, we're like not like
So
most of y'all here are like your barber, that's your barber. I tell my barber when I go and I'm like, yo, I'm non-monogamous. And then he's like, and I be like, that just means, bitch, if you're out of town or something's happening on, I gotta get my hair cut. So like, I appreciate you for bringing that up, because when I say that, niggas be looking at me like, that's so weird. But we are, as black masculine people, black men, we are like very monogamous with your, you know, it's hurt when they leave, when they go get another job.
I get really upset when he doesn't answer my phone.
It hurts.
I think that gets questioned a lot because I guess people see monogamy as like a religious thing, but also as a loyalty thing. So I think that gets misconstrued because I see monogamy as relationships, like you were saying, like, which open me up for my sexuality too, because I see myself having meaningful relationships with people I like to go fishing, hunting, and hiking with, and they're not female. You know what I'm saying? So if it is relationships, if you are building relationships with people, if that's what you call a relationship, you know what I'm saying, then I'm definitely non-monogamous all the fucking time, and I leave my girlfriend for men all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Just don't lie to them. What that rapper say? Lie to your girlfriend and tell the truth to your boyfriend, whatever that homo.
The future.
Shit was.
Yeah, right.
That shit was erotic as fuck.
I think there's another aspect where like there's another aspect to this combo that like the misconception that people see polyamory or non-monogamy as like just you fucking everything.
That's how I was.
And it's literally not that like almost at all.
Right.
Like it's a little bit that, but for someone like me, where like sex is the only motherfucker with 2 kids in here. For me, like, sex is not that important, to be honest. Like, it really isn't. And like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I could go a really long time. Like, I literally don't need it, like, almost at all. And so when I tell people that, and then they respond with that energy of like, you just want to be able to do whatever you want with no repercussions, and I don't know why I put on the soprano voice, but that's just what those people sound like in my head. Like, they're just like, you just want to do whatever you want. Come on. But like, no, but in all seriousness, like, it's based, for me, polyamory and non-monogamy for me is based on what I need from partners and what I look for in people. So like, because if you boil it down to its like bare minimum, then at some point you're just gonna be talking about being friends with people. You know what I mean? And it's like friendships are relationships, but what separates a relationship romantically from a friendship is the romance aspect. So like, for example, like, yeah, exactly. So like, I would never pay a $300 brunch tab for one of my friends. Do you know what I mean? Like, but that's just me. Like, that's just not friendship for me. It's like, for me, that's more like, yo, you do something for me, whether it be emotionally or physically or whatever. Like, you do something for me, you bring something out of me that I cannot, like, you bring something out of me that warrants this behavior, and I cannot get all of what I need from one person. And I think that acknowledging that is healthy. And there's also the matter of like, there's a matter of like what I'm attracted to, and like I think there's an inherent, I'm gonna be careful with this assumption, but there's an inherent transphobia that I harbor, where it's like, am I attracted to women or am I attracted to vagina? You know what I mean? And it's like, if I have like, am I dissociating the genital from the person? Like, because relationships are with people, not their genitals. You know what I mean? So like, could I be with a trans woman with a penis? You know what I mean?
Cause I was gonna say, are you just coming out to tell us you like the boys?
No.
I mean, I'm here for it. They do think you're attractive. It's been buzzing in the world, so
I just mean for it. That's like something. That's just like something that I like struggle with, because it's like when we talk, because like if the relationship does boil down to sex, like.
You guys take a second now.
But like if it boils down to like just sex, like how most people see it, then it's like, okay, well then, do you even really like people? Because what the fuck, like, you know what I mean? And then that's something I gotta work through, where it's like, man, fucking, it's tough. Like it's a weird space.
I used to talk to like my frat brothers and stuff all the time. I was like, so you got a girlfriend? Why? If you just was gonna cheat. Like, and I'd be like, no, seriously, like, you need to give me a better answer than, oh, why? Because I'm still attracted to other people. It's like, so then don't get a girl. Like, none of that makes sense.
Access to the woman.
Yeah.
None of that
Straight
is
up.
ever gonna make sense to me, right?
Yeah.
So you told a lie because you wanted access to this person.
Right.
But now you're trying to protect their feelings, even though your initial
delusion.
thing that you did to
It's
them
all
was
delusion,
right?
right?
Like, so you already lied to this person, so you wasn't caring
Talk about
their
protecting.
feelings.
Right!
So then what exactly are you trying to protect besides your own ego?
Right.
And your
right?
ego, yes.
I think, especially like when you talk about non-monogamy, like it's about communication. And I think that's the biggest thing that people misinterpret is like, to be in anything non-monogamous requires probably a lot more communication than to be in anything monogamous.
Yeah.
And a lot more loyalty and a lot of other shit that people think they
it
don't.
requires a lot more transparency, a lot
Yeah.
more vulnerability.
Trust.
I know for me, like, it was easy because I knew what I wanted and didn't want. So it didn't take me long to enter into something with somebody or date somebody, and they asked me questions around monogamy. I was like, well, we could be monogamish, but we might not be she.
You're trying to show monogamish, black people.
You know, and they were like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, you know, if we out of town, the two of us can bring somebody in, like, we can figure out rules, but if you think that I'm just going to sleep with you for the next 40 years, that's just not going to happen, right? Because I know who I am. And you should know better with who you are, because if you're attracted to me, you got to be attracted to somebody else at some point and gonna have some type of feelings. And before you even feel like you need to step out or whatever, we're gonna have transparent conversations around sexuality, what we feel, what we like, what we don't like. Now, if we have the conversation, I bring it to you, I want to sleep with somebody, and you say no, okay, well that's a conversation that we have to have, right? We have to unpack. But I think a lot of people just assume it's like carte blanche to have and do whatever you want, right? But then we also know that there are women who get men free passes, and like we've seen like terms, right? But it's always centered in what the man wants, or what the top wants, or what the dominant person or dominant position in whatever the relationship dynamic is wants. And that's why, like, before we got started, when everybody raised their hand, I'm like, well, I know they non-monogamy probably a lot different than our non-monogamy. Because I know they're not bringing another man into their bedroom. But if she want to bring another girl into their bedroom, it's like, all right, we can do that. Like, oh, hell yeah, we can be two chicks over here. But it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to bring another dude in here